Well, I mean, we know that this is a bipartisan issue. There's a recent poll that said 81% of voters, including 65% of Republicans, want the Biden administration to do something about childcare, and want, Republicans to work with Democrats and do something about childcare. So, we sent a strong message during the midterms that, Republicans are going to have to pay the price if they don't start supporting families. And they haven't been supporting families. They've been focused on culture war issues like banning books and banning sex education rather than passing paid leave and making childcare affordable. And in this moment where we're about to talk about the triple pandemic, again, it's parents that are missing work. And not able to make payments and pay their mortgage because we don't live in a nation that provides them support. And I think that the issue was really strong in the midterms. I think it's going to be even stronger in 2024 because the cost of childcare is greater than the cost of inflation. 40% of parents are going into debt because of preschool. It costs $18,000 a year for every child. These are real pocketbook issues, and these costs are exacerbating and increasing because childcare spots are not available.
Right. And because, as many experts have said, it is actually a failed market. It is something that needs systemic change. It is not something that individuals are going to be able to tackle on their own. I remember sitting with you, Reshma, and talking sort of in the wake of the pandemic about if that moment had not caused a national reckoning around the need to reevaluate family and child care policies, then what would? So it strikes me that you and I are now having this conversation on the precipice of a triple-demic where it seems as though, yes, Democrats, I think, do understand this. I think Democrats do have a care agenda. Where they have had challenges is bringing Republicans along with them to actually bring something over the finish line. What would that take?
Absolutely. I mean, well, listen, we have some opportunities right now. I mean, Senator Schumer should bring forth the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act immediately, as a single vote and pass that, before the end of the term. And I think, again, mothers are watching them because, so many pregnant workers do not have, the support that they need, whether it's lactation centers, whether it's being able to sit down on a stool when you're pregnant. I mean, basic fundamental things. I think that it's going to take, as far as moving Republicans along, it is going to take Republican voters, women and men, to send a really strong message that the party that supports them as parents, this party that supports them on childcare, on paid leave, the party that makes this affordable. Because as you said, it is a market problem. Somebody has to provide the subsidy, whether that's the government or the private sector. We've been pushing at the Marshall Plan, the private sector to start subsidizing childcare, but that's not going to cover every single, every single worker. And the reality is we have to ask ourselves, are women in the workforce a nice to have or a must have? And the reality is 80% of women in the workforce are mothers. And they're doing 2/3 of the caregiving work. So they have two jobs. And so they can't work without childcare. And the reality is that childcare, it's not a personal problem for me to fix. It is an economic issue. And other industrialized nations, they get this. America is the only country that treats mothers as their social safety net. And I'm telling you, Alicia, we're gonna pay the price because we're building a grassroots movement of moms on across the aisle, across socioeconomic status, who are saying enough is enough. We demand the support that we need and that we have earned. And that means paid leave, that means childcare, that means guaranteed sick days. And so there's an agenda, a parent's agenda, that voters are starting to vote on. And if you pay attention to what happened in this past election, politicians who understood this, like Gretchen Whitmer, and who ran on this issue, having a child is a foundational economic choice. It decides everything.